Hey, what's up? It's your boy Rawk and welcome to Rawk Recompletes, a series in which I take a look back at old games that I've previously beaten to see if my opinions on them still hold true. This episode I'm going to be taking a look at Super Mario 3D Land, which released on the Nintendo 3DS in 2011, and is the first game in the series that is built from the ground up for a handheld. So without any further ado, let's get right into things. Super Mario 3D Land is something of an interesting game for me. I got this game with my 3DS in 2011, and I absolutely fucking loved it. Everything about this game had me smitten. The art style, the gameplay, the music. I played the game to 100% completion and was raring to do it again. Then Mario 3D World came out and I kind of just forgot about this one. Yeah, this was back when new releases pretty much replaced older similar games entirely for me, so 3D Land kinda sat on the back burner for a while. I played it from time to time, no doubt, but every time I did, 3D World gave me stink eye, and I stopped after a few minutes. And yet, despite how infrequently I played it after my initial playthrough, I was absolutely obsessed with this game. I collected the 2 plushes that released in celebration of the game. I would try to recreate the levels with them, the things were never out of my hands. But I'm not, I don't know, way past immature anymore, so that never happens now. Let's see if that changed. I only have a little bit of shame. Super Mario 3D Land's story is definitely a product of its time. Around this game's release, Nintendo had sort of a trend going on where they didn't give a fuck about stories in Mario games. And it shows. At the very least, this game had more going for it than its older brother, but that's not really saying much. So, our story begins on a stormy night outside of Princess Peach's castle, where this tree with a tail is struggling to withstand the storm. Oh dear. The next morning comes around and Mario and the Toads discover that Princess Peach has been kidnapped. Go! After every world, we get these cute little cutscenes where Mario finds another letter about how Peach is doing, and they can range from finally learning self-defense to Peach is fucking dead. She will probably definitely not be missed. 8 worlds later and BAM! We make Bowser Gravity's bitch in quite the hilarious cutscene, and we rescue the princess. We peer pressure the Toads to join our fairy cult as we soar through the sky in the credits. And with that, the game is over.
Help me!
Fucking Luigi. 8 more worlds unlock, but they don't offer any additional story, not even in the between world cutscenes, so fuck 'em. The story in this game is very basic, but for what it is, I actually really like it. The world transition cutscenes are a fun little touch, and considering this was the first 3D handheld Mario game, this story is everything it needed to be. Due to the handheld nature of this game, the gameplay is wildly different compared to the likes of 64 and Sunshine, for example. This game only allows for 12 directions of movement, for a couple of reasons. Reason number 1, the circle pad isn't humanity's favourite stick to play with. I know it's hard to hear, but this thing barely qualifies. Because of this, 12 directions that Mario snaps between was deemed the better choice to accommodate for the distinct lack of shaft. And reason number 2, the level designs are a lot more simplistic and straightforward. 12 directions is all you'll ever need, 13 would be overkill. This game feels incredibly good to play. The levels really complement the control scheme and the pick up and play nature of the game. And although the 12 directional controls might sound limiting, the levels are laid out in such a way that they're actually more empowering. In terms of a moveset, stop me if you've heard this one before, we have a standard jump, side jump, charge, backflip, roll, wall jump, and a fucking worthless long jump. 3D Land is actually the basis for 3D World's moveset, but I reviewed them out of order. That's right, fuck the timeline! Yep, I regret that immediately. Alright. In terms of power-ups, this game sees the return of the almighty Tanuki suit. Oh joy! It last appeared in Super Mario Bros. 3, and Nintendo just couldn't hold back anymore. They had to make Mario a furry again. If I still had a face and a body, I'd be giving this a fist shaking. There's the Fire Flower. Can't have a Mario game without it, apart from when we did. Boomerang Flower, the first time we ever saw this power-up. That's neat. The Propeller Box, a nifty little hat that makes you ascend. And finally, a variation on the Tanuki suit that gives you an adorable little scarf and turns you into stone. And another that grants you invincibility, but I won't use it. I will beat Bowser with dignity. Yeah, right. After beating World S1, Luigi becomes playable, but unlike in Galaxy, Galaxy 2 and 3D World, he controls exactly like Mario. But hey, he's here. Super Mario 3D Land is incredibly fun to control, and all in all, it feels really good. There aren't even any real limitations to the control scheme, as it perfectly complements every aspect of the game's design. Sure, it's not as fun to use as Sunshine or Odyssey, but given the hardware and its limitations, this game feels incredible to play. Super Mario 3D Land takes the limitations of the hardware it's on and runs a mile with what it's given. On a technical level, 3D Land doesn't quite shine the brightest in the series. Character models are higher poly than 64 and Sunshine, but that's about the only thing it has going for it against the rest of the series so far. Due to the low resolution of the 3DS screen, the texture work isn't going to win any awards, and yet despite the technical inferiority compared to the rest of the series, this game still looks absolutely fantastic. The game is bursting with charm and character. Each and every level pops and feels alive, regardless of the fact that there are barely any NPCs to inhabit the levels. The way this game looks just really appeals to me for some reason. It's simplistic without being basic, and being the first wholly original handheld 3D Mario game, this is quite an impressive feat graphically. And then the music comes along and says, oh, that's cute. The music in this game, holy shit, it's good. Each track is incredibly catchy. All of the music has that 3DS spunk to it that all of the system's games have. It's hard to pinpoint what it is exactly. I guess the fact that it's a handheld meant that the music couldn't be as high quality, but that's honestly not a bad thing. This game might have the most nostalgic music in the series for me personally. It's all just so upbeat and lively. Listen to it just makes me happy. Sure, a lot of the music is ripped from Galaxy, but is that really a complaint? Have you heard that game's soundtrack? Call me an exaggerative fanboy, but I absolutely adore this game's soundtrack. And there honestly isn't a single track on it that I don't at the very least really like. God, I miss having a body. All in all, presentation-wise, Super Mario 3D Land is phenomenal. It doesn't at all feel limited by the hardware it's on. If anything, the low specs of the 3DS almost work to this game's advantage. It holds up incredibly well, and I honestly don't think that'll change anytime soon. If Super Mario Odyssey can't make me think that this game looks dated, then I doubt anything will. Wait, fuck, I don't have eyes anymore. I'm never gonna look at Odyssey again! Fuck! Super Mario 3D Land's completion is essentially a watered down version of 3D Worlds, which sounds bad until you remember. I'm just gonna say it. Fuck 100% completing this game. This is just cruel at this point. The game contains 8 worlds and 8 special worlds, each one having between 5 and 10 levels each. In each level there are 3 star medals to collect, and most of them are hidden pretty well and they're decently fun to collect. There were definitely a good number I had to go back and hunt down, but none of them were ever frustrating, which I definitely appreciate. Each world has a boss, and it's usually some variation of Boom Boom and or Pom Pom. And these guys are fun enough to fight, nothing I'm absolutely screaming for, but fun enough. Each level ends in a flag pool, and in order to nab 100%, you're gonna have to grab the top of each and every one. Once you've done all of this, the final level unlocks, and to the surprise of absolutely nobody, it's a hard as f*** final challenge. This level kinda makes me glad that I don't have a physical form anymore. I can no longer feel pain. Just emptiest. Never mind. This level is incredibly difficult and frustrating, but compared to Galaxy 2 and 3D World, it's completely tolerable. The level's hard, no doubt, but nothing that'll have me destroy my beloved possessions. Fuck this! I won't fucking do it! Would you stop that? As previously mentioned, Luigi is playable in this game, which can only mean one thing: beating the entire fucking game with him, which is really enjoyable. This game is incredibly easy, relatively short, and boatloads of fun, so doing it all a second time was an absolute joy. That's really the best way to describe the completion experience of this game. Pure, simple, handheld joy that brings me back to being a kid. And having a body. Fuck this! Super Mario 3D Land is the epitome of an underrated game. It couldn't have came out at a more perfect time for me. I was really starting to get into gaming around then, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this game was a large part of why I'm where I am today. If I had to sum up my feelings for this game in one word, it would be nostalgia. This game brings me back to a place of pure joy. Is it perfect? No, but it doesn't have to be. Well, there's only one game in the series left to talk about. Hopefully I'll find a way to revert the whole timeline crisis I brought upon myself, because I'm really starting to miss the whole concrete matter thing. This whole thing happened because I openly disregarded continuity, so if the next game falls chronologically after 3D Land, that might just be enough to save me. Son of a bitch, this game came out 9 years before 3D Land, and it's a remake. Who needs existence anyways?